Assalamu alaikum students. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. So here I am back with English subject. In the previous class, I completed part 1 of the chapter Fair Play. I hope you all read that part 1 and went through it. So today we are going to start with part 2. Before we start with the part 2, let me tell you the summary of part 2. Now in the part 1, we have seen what Jumman did with his old aunt, right? He was not ready to give allowance, he was not ready to take care of that old aunt. And the old aunt wanted justice in this matter. So she decided to go in panchayat with this matter, with this case. Now in part 2 we are going to study about what happened in the panchayat, what was the final decision taken, okay, and we will see whether Algu Chaudhary supported old aunt or he supported his best friend Jumman knowing that he was wrong. So that is what we are going to go through in today's class in part 2 of the chapter Fair Play. So now all of you open your books, open page number 86 and we'll start with paragraph 5 of part 2. The panchayat was held the same evening under an old banyan tree. Now the panchayat, it was held under one banyan tree. Now you know that in the village, the center of the village will be one big tree, right? So here also they had one old banyan tree, and under that tree, as you can see in the picture, they held the panchayat. Juman stood up and said, now when this case was going to start, obviously the panchayat was sitting there, then the few people also came, okay, to see what's the decision going to be taken, right? So now Juman stood up and said, the voice of the panch is the voice of God. So now what did he said? He said the voice of the panch, it means a decision that the panchayat will take will be just and fair. Okay, it is the voice of God. By saying this, he meant that the panch is not going to be unfair. They will take a fair decision. What is right? Okay, they will give justice to the correct person. Let my aunt nominate the head punch. I will abide by her decision. So now what did the Jumman said? He said, let my aunt, his old aunt, nominate means let her select the head punch. Now over here head punch means the sarpanch who will take the decision in this matter. Okay, the sarpanch who will tell who is right, whether Jumman or the old aunt, what is to be done in this case. So what Jumman said, let my old aunt decide who will be the head punch, who will be the sarpanch, and I will abide by her decision. Abide means I will accept whoever person my aunt selects. Now this is the risk that Jumman took. Are you right? Do you understand that? Because aunt may select someone who is in her favor and against Jumman. Okay, so this is some risk that Jumman took, but he said that I will let my aunt nominate, I'll accept her decision. The punch knows neither friend nor enemy. What do you say to Algu Chaudhary? The old lady announced. Now what happened? She said the punch means the panchayat, the people who are involved in taking decision. They are nobody's friend and nobody's enemy. Okay, when they are nobody's friend and nobody's enemy, then only they will be able to take the correct decision. Am I right? Yes? So the old lady, before taking the name, she said, the punch knows neither friend nor enemy. For the punch, there is no friend, no enemy. Okay. And then she said, what do you say to Algu Chaudhary? It means she announced that I want Algu Chaudhary to be the head punch. Now you know, Algu Chaudhary is the best friend of Jumman. Fine, replied Jumman, hiding his joy over this unexpected piece of luck. So now Jumman was happy. He was happy inside. Why was he happy? Because he knew Algu Chaudhary is his best friend and his best friend will not go against Jumman. So Jumman thought, I will win the case, right? So now he was hiding this happiness. He cannot show front of the villagers now that he's happy that Algu Chaudhary is my best friend and he will be in my favor, right? So, and he was thinking, I'm lucky that old aunt chose Algu Chaudhary. So hiding his happiness, what did Jumman replied? Fine. Now, Chachi, you are aware of my friendship with Jumman, said Algu. Now, Algu said, when aunt, the old aunt, when she announced the name of Algu Chaudhary, Algu said, Chachi, you are aware. Aware means you know my friendship with Jumman. Now, what did aunt replied? I know that, replied the aunt. But I also know that you will not kill your conscience for the sake of friendship. So, what did aunt say? But I also know that you will not kill your conscience for the sake of friendship. Now, aunt said to Algu, I know you are a friend of Jumman, but I also know that you have, you can decide what is wrong and what is right. Okay, and conscience over here means the moral that helps you decide what is right and what is wrong. And when you do something wrong, you feel guilty for doing that thing wrong, right? So she said that I know you are not going to kill your conscience for the sake of friendship. For the friendship, you're not going to take a wrong decision. I also know that, because if you take a wrong decision, you will feel guilty for it. I know your morals. Okay, so this is what aunt replied. God lives in the heart of Punch, and his voice is the voice of God. And then what she said, God lives in the heart of Punch. Now you see, God can never do biasness. Okay, in front of God, each and every individual is same and equal. Okay, he does what is right. Okay. So now she says that God lives in the heart of Punch and his voice is the voice of God. So I also know that Punch is not going to take a wrong decision. If you become a Punch, you will take a fair decision. Okay, because it will be the voice of God. It means you're not going to do any biasness and your morals are not going to allow you to do anything wrong. So you will take the correct decision. And the old lady explained her case. So after saying this, the old lady explained her entire case in the panchayat. Now, Algu, he became the head punch. Jumman said, Algu, you and I are old friends. Your aunt is as dear to me as you. Now I am a punch. So now what Algu is saying after the old lady explained the case, Algu said, Jumman, you and I are old friends. It means we are friends since childhood. We are best friends. Your aunt is dear to you as me. And now I am the head punch. So I have to decide who is right and who is wrong. Okay. You are my best friend, as well as your aunt is also dear to me. You and your aunt are equal before me. So what did Algu said? Your aunt and you both are equal to me. What you have to say in your defense? So now, in the defense means against what the old lady said. He said, do you have anything to say to save yourself? This is what Algu asked to Jumman. 3 years ago, began Jumman, my aunt transferred her property to me. I promised to support her as long as she lived. So now Jumman was explaining what happened. He said, 3 years before, my aunt, she transferred her property to me and she said, and I promised her that I will take care of her till she is alive. I have done all I could. So now Jumman said, I did what I could do for her. There have been a couple of quarrels between my wife and her but I can't stop it. So now Jumman is saying that I did what I could do, but now quarrels means since a long time my aunt and my wife, both of them were having arguments. They started fighting. Now my aunt is claiming a monthly allowance from me. This is not possible. That's all I have to say. So now Juman is saying that now both of them are having fight and I cannot stop their fight. Okay, he said like this and the punch. And what else he said? He said, now my aunt is claiming means she wants monthly allowance. She want me to give her some money every month, which is not possible. And then he said, this is what I have in my case to say. Juman was cross-examined by Algu and others. Now cross-examined means Algu and the other members of the panchayat, they asked questions to Jumman. Then Algu announced, we have gone into the matter carefully. Now it was the time when Algu had to give the final decision that who is wrong, who is right, what is to be done in this case. Okay, so now Algu announced, we looked in this matter very carefully. We asked questions to Jumman. The old lady explained her case. Jumman also said in his defense. Now we looked into it very carefully. Now what is the decision? In our opinion means, now what Panchayat came to a decision that Jumman must pay his aunt a monthly allowance or else the property goes back to her. So now finally, what was the solution of this case? The solution of this case was that Jumman had to give monthly allowance, means monthly payment to the aunt. Okay, and if he does not want to give money to the aunt, give back the whole property that she transferred. Okay, so now the decision was in the favor of aunt and not in Jumman. Now do you see? Algu supported who is right and who is wrong. Now if we had to take the decision in this matter, we would have supported aunt. Why would we have supported aunt? Because we know what was happening with her in the house of Jumman, what his wife did, what Jumman did was not at all right. It was wrong. So the fair decision was that aunt must be paid monthly allowance or her property should get back, right? So the Algu, he also took a very fair decision. He didn't see his friendship. Okay, he didn't see that aunt is dear to him, but he saw both were equal in front of him. He saw the case and then he saw that yes, aunt is right. Okay, the decision went in the favor of aunt. Now let's see what Jumman had to do. Now the two friends were seldom seen together. Now, obviously, if this case goes in panchayat and if they take a decision, both the parties have to follow the decision. So the decision was either Jumman had to pay allowance or the property goes back to aunt. So now Jumman did either of one and the case got over. But now what happened? Now Algu knew this, that if the case goes in the favor of aunt, Jumman is not going to be friend with Algu anymore. He knew this, but still he had to take a decision. So he took. And then what happened? After this case got over, these two friends, Algu Chaudhary and Jumman Sheikh, both were rarely seen together. Now you know how their bond was. Okay, their friendship was very strong, right? They used to take care of each other's family and everything. But now, very rarely, they were seen together. The bond of friendship between them was broken. Now because of this one thing. But we know that Algu did right. Jumman had to support what Algu said. But Jumman, he was not supporting, and this very strong bond of the friendship broke just because of this case. In fact, Jumman was Algu's enemy and wanted his revenge. Now Jumman started taking Algu as his enemy. Okay. Now you know what is the meaning of enemy, right? Enemy here is Dushman. Okay, so now he started taking Algu as his enemy. Jumman wanted revenge. Revenge over here is badla, right? So he wanted that anyhow he would take revenge with Algu. Now, do you think Algu did because he wanted to take revenge or something? No, Algu took a fair decision. But Jumman, now over here, Jumman is wrong. He wanted to take revenge from Algu and was taking as his enemy. But Algu didn't have any of that kind of feeling in his heart. Okay, so here we end with part 2. Now I'm summing up in what happened in part 2. This case was taken in Panchayat. Jumman and aunt both came in punch, and aunt selected Algu as the sarpanch, head punch, and then both the parties explained the decision went in the favor of aunt, and now at the end, Jumman, he was no more friend with Algu, he wanted revenge from Algu. So here we end with part 2. Read thoroughly. If you have any doubt, please ask in the comment section.